All right, let's talk about something I think a lot of us have seen or maybe even felt ourselves. That incredibly strong, silent bond some people have with animals. A connection that feels somehow even deeper than the ones they have with other people.
So think about this for a second. It sounds like a simple choice, right? But behind this very common decision, there's actually a fascinating psychological story unfolding. It's not just about being an animal lover. Turns out, there's some pretty deep reasons why the quiet company of a pet can feel way more appealing than a room full of your best friends.
So we're going to treat this like a bit of a puzzle. Why is it that some of us find such deep, real comfort in our animal companions? Well, there's actually a framework that helps explain this whole thing, and it tells us a ton about our own fundamental human needs.
To piece this puzzle together, we're going to look at three really distinct personality archetypes, or souls, which is the term the source material uses. Now, each one is looking for something very specific and very different in their bond with an animal, but you'll see they all end up in the exact same place, finding a deep sense of peace and connection.
Okay, so let's jump right in with our first archetype, the sensitive soul. For this person, the human world, with all its emotional chaos, all the ups and downs, it can feel incredibly loud, just overwhelming.
And this quote right here, it just nails the core need of the sensitive soul. Because they feel the complicated emotions of other people so intensely, the simple, quiet, non-demanding presence of an animal is like a peaceful harbor in a storm. It's a truly safe space.
Yeah, when you look at it like this, it totally makes sense, doesn't it? A pet's affection is just uncomplicated. There are no hidden meanings, no emotional minefields to navigate. It's just pure, restorative companionship that helps them recharge.
Okay, next up we have our second archetype. This is the betrayed soul. And for this person, the preference for pets isn't necessarily about being highly sensitive, but it's been shaped by their past experiences. Specifically, their past experiences with people.
Wow. I mean, this statement says it all, right? For anyone who's ever been hurt by human judgment or let down by betrayal, the unconditional acceptance you get from a pet can be this incredibly powerful healing force. Animals, they just forgive, and they move on.
So really, this all boils down to one word: trust. The betrayed soul has learned the hard way that human relationships can be conditional, they can be fragile. A pet offers something they desperately need: an unbreakable, loyal bond where they feel completely and totally safe from being deceived or judged.
All right, and that brings us to our third and final archetype, the inner traveler. Now, their preference isn't really rooted in emotional sensitivity or past hurt. For them, it's all about how they manage their social energy.
Social noise. I think we've all felt that, right? It's the small talk, the expectations, that feeling that you have to perform, to be on. Well, for the inner traveler, that noise is just particularly draining, and they're always looking for a refuge from it.
And this really breaks it down for us. See, the inner traveler isn't antisocial. It's just that their social battery drains way faster than other people's. So a pet provides the absolute perfect solution. You get all the comfort of companionship without any of the exhausting social effort. You can just be with them. No performance necessary.
So, okay, we've got these three really different paths, right? The sensitive, the betrayed, and the inner traveler. But what's the one thing that connects them all? Turns out there's a single thread, a fundamental human need that ties them all together.
And that connecting thread is this concept of social exclusion. This is the core idea. It doesn't matter if you're feeling overwhelmed by emotion, hurt by betrayal, or just plain drained by socializing. The result is the same. You feel kind of on the outside of all the complex rules of human interaction. You feel excluded. And that feeling pushes you to find a safer, more accepting kind of connection. So this journey kind of lays it all out, step by step. First, you feel the strain of human interaction. Then, you instinctively start looking for a relationship that doesn't have that same risk. And finally, you find it. You discover that profound, unconditional love in the silent, non-judgmental bond you have with a pet.
All right, so as we start to bring this all together, there's a really important point to make here. This whole thing isn't about animals being better than people. It's not a competition. Not at all. It's about recognizing that they offer a fundamentally different type of connection.
And this chart just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? Human connections are complex, they're verbal, and let's be honest, they're often conditional. They're essential, but they can be draining. Animal connections, on the other hand, are simple, silent, and pretty much always unconditional, which can be incredibly restorative. They aren't replacements, they're complements. They fulfill different needs.
So this is it. This is the biggest takeaway from all of this. A strong preference for pets isn't some kind of judgment on humanity. It's a search for a specific kind of bond that the human world, for all its beauty and complexity, sometimes has a hard time providing. A connection that is simple, safe, and just silent.
And that leaves me with one final thought for you to reflect on. Whether you're a pet person or not, what does this powerful, silent bond really teach us about that universal human desire for unconditional acceptance? It seems that deep down, we're all just looking for a safe harbor. And for some of us, that harbor just happens to have